questions? Okay, so let's move on to the next fun boss. Next boss being... What boss do you guys want to do next? Your choice, guys. Again, you kill Nithendra. We decided we're going to go do Ursoc next. What do you guys want to do next? Do you guys want to do the Heart of Corruption? Do you want to do Renferal, or do you want to do Dragons? Any one of these three. Renferal next? Okay. Alright, lose a lot of look. We'll do Renferal. So Renferal is, I think, one of the tougher encounters because of the complexity of what happens. Basically, there is a spider form and there is a bird form. During the spider form, there's spiders and spider-esque abilities. There's a web of pain. There's a big, like a feeding time ambush where you guys sort of remember Beth Talak, sort of similar to that. The spider jumps up in the air somewhere and leaps down on a raid member, doing raid-wide damage. There's, you know, a venom debuff, or multiple people will get hit by a venom. If you guys remember the first boss, right, Rots, where it pulsates damage, very similar kind of thing, where when it starts expiring, it'll start dropping puddles on the ground. And it's up to you as raiders to drop those puddles in a good and intelligent spot. He does a Web of Pain, which connects to tanks and then players later on. The further people are away, the more damage you take, because it reflects the damage back. So you want to be nice and close. If you have Web of Pain, be nice and close to your buddies. Do not have this big, giant, massive Web of Pain. That's sort of the big thing to get rid of it. Spiders and spiders accessories. Feeding time, you know, it'll be pretty straightforward. We'll go through that one. Vile ambush, same kind of thing. There will be spiders as well that spawn. There's things that happen throughout the entire encounter. There's eggs around the entire platforms. These little eggs, you know, if this is the platform here, these little eggs are all over the place. Well, when you guys are doing dungeons like Darkheart Thicket, you guys know what happens when you run over eggs, right? Well, bad stuff spawns. You know, it's not drakes or dragons this time. It's lots of little crappy spiders. And I know how much you guys love spiders. This stream, I know how much you guys love spiders. And there's lots and lots of spiders for you guys. Like, there's just a ton. So if you don't like spiders, then don't run over the eggs. It's that simple. It is super avoidable. If you get lots of little extra spiders, probably somebody ran over some spider eggs and pissed off some spiders. Anyway, and there's little skittering spiderlings as well. And on the higher difficulties, basically, they do a ton of damage. Which difficulty? Venomous spiderlings here, dripping fangs, and yeah, it's not a fun deal. So, yeah, don't run over eggs fatality. Let's go through my Renferal here, and I'll explain what happens, what to do for each phase. So I cover the spider phase, and she keeps alternating between, I hope it's a she, between spider phase and bird phase nonstop. So, where did I pull up Renferal? Renferal is 49 in my little Twitch thing. And yeah, like, this is an entire raid. If you guys want to watch it, it's the entire raid minus Xavius, because Xavius wasn't there, but I've got a different video for you guys to show you guys. Alright, so, is this right? 49? Alright, so this is the boss here. So what we do is we are taking the boss on one side. Because of the way Vile Ambush works and how the platform is set up, I wish I could sort of not gray this out for you guys. You can sort of see our markers here set up. We have the red marker here and skull marker here. On one side, there is a cliff. Sorry, there's a cliff on the right side there. If you fall off, you die. That's what happens when you fall off cliff, if you're not sure. On the left side, there are spider eggs and spider web sacks and all that other kind of stuff. So that's the mountain side, and then there's the cliff side, just in case you know, you're wondering when I use different terminology. So we're going to pull the boss over to here and explain why. The Vile Ambush, that big sort of leap up in the air, lands on one person, and we want to control where that ambush lands. So here we're pulling the boss, and we're dragging the boss really close. Now, there is no reason to be spread out, so you want to be stacked in. We have a designated person here, Brandhista, she's the star marker. Everybody should have been stacked there. Now, here's the first ability that comes out. This is the Necrotic Plague. Is that the Necrotic Plague? Necrotic Venom. Plague is different. Necrotic Venom debuff. Where every 1 second it drops a debuff, and each pulse leaves behind a venomous pool. See what happens when those two people drop it off. Now, it's really important that you don't drop those venomous pools under your raid. Your raiders are going to hate you if you drop them off. So we said, hey, go to the mountain side, right? The mountain side of the platform to drop off your plagues. Look where they drop them off. Watch this. Okay, so they're dropping them off. At the same time, Vile Ambush is happening. Okay, so a lot of things happening in this picture. So the first thing on the far left side of the screen, those guys with necrotic venom are dropping those things off. The other thing is that big green circle that you guys just saw. We'll go back a couple seconds here. So okay, we're going to pull the boss again. The big green circle, she goes up in the air, and you have to wait as a group because it can target any one of you. If you are too far in the middle of the platform, well, you're going to screw your right over. The goal is to bait it. If everybody's nice and close, you know it's going to spawn there. So, and we were practicing a mythic strat here on this one. I'll explain it in a second. So necrotic venom comes out. Those guys run off to the far left side. The Vile Ambush. So she goes up in the air. You can sort of see her there. And she's coming to there. She chooses a person or a player. It's like a purple person there in the middle of the screen. Anybody in that green circle is going to die. This is where you got to book it the hell out of here. So we're going to run. I actually screwed this up. Okay, so see, this is where I made a mistake. For those of you watching this, I'm going to call myself out on this mistake. There are essentially 3 lanes of traffic. There is the mountain side, which is people for necrotic. There is the webbed side, which is me. You see the tanks, the blue marker there, they got linked together. And then myself and somebody else here, we actually both screwed up. We're supposed to use the middle lane of traffic, so where the orange marker is right now. And everybody else uses the cliff side. On higher difficulties, if you hit somebody else with your tether, they get knocked off the platform. So we were trying to practice, hey, everybody that has a web, the web of pain on you can see it on the right side of my screen there. We totally wiped it right there if that was on Mythic, by the way. Should have been using the middle. And you see how far away that person is from me? The further the person is, the more damage we're going to take. Now what happens as well is, so those green puddles are the necrotic venoms, and then little spiderlings spawn as well. Those little spiderlings have to be killed away from the boss, because number one, they drop pools. Whenever they're killed, they'll drop a little green pile of crap on the ground. You don't want to kill them near your tanks or near your melee, because that's not really fun. I don't think she jumps on people with Venom, Sostonia. Good question, though. Yeah. So anyway, so the Web of Pain, should be pretty close together, and again, you're stacked in. So here, Necrotic Venom comes out, you'll see 2 people up on the hill there. I believe it is Ganor and somebody else. They're going to be dropping off those green puddles. And that's totally fine. So it's fading in 2, 1, he ice blocked it. That's totally fine, right? Totally fine to ice block it. Ganor's running around there, dropping off his stuff out of our way. That's really important. Don't drop it in our way. So Necrotic Venom happening again here. There. The Venom is on Ariana and Braindead. They have 10 seconds to run out. So it doesn't happen right away. You have 10 seconds to run out and put it in the right spots. So they're going to go around here, and they're going to go drop off. One person went to the wrong side there. I think it was Ariana there. Okay, so here, we're going to wait. There it is. It's really hard to see. That's my little gripe about this. It's a little hard to see that big green circle. I'll scroll back a couple seconds. Watch what happens. So we're waiting for the big green circle. Do not move until you see the green circle on your screen. Feeding time about to happen, and there it is. And now we all book it, and because now I did it correctly, orange lane, Web of Pain goes with me, and everybody else uses the cliff side. That's hopefully a better vantage point for most people. Necrotic Venoms go to the wall side, right? And then the spiderlings are killed away from her because of her debuff. And now she would go into Darkwing form. Okay, so after she does that a couple times, she goes into her bird form. Yeah, exactly that. It goes into the thing in a couple places. Now, the bird form is fun. Hey, Shellstars. It's really exciting. There's a couple of things to really notice with that one, the rock form or bird form. One of the first things she'll do is her Twisting Shadows ability. So she's going to cast Twisting Shadows on somebody, and when Twisting Shadows are on you, you can actually go clean up, like you're basically a vacuum, and you go clean up those green pools. You don't really have to do it. You can make it a little bit easier, but the important thing is after X amount of seconds, when the debuff expires, you spawn a tornado that sort of moves around. So you want to drop off these tornadoes in a good spot, again, being proactive, and you'll see what happens, when Twisting Shadows happens in 2, 1, and there, it targeted those guys. Those guys are running off to the left side. You see how they clean up those pools? And that's really as far as they really want to get. No further than that is necessary. And then they're going to spawn a tornado, in that spawn point on the far left side there. Gathering Cloud's next ability she'll cast. Gathering Clouds. If you guys remember Ji-kun from Throne of Thunder, like whenever we're looking at abilities or bosses or those kinds of things, we try to use other boss abilities to help remind us. Ji-kun is pretty much the exact same thing. She pushes you back, and she does damage to you. Okay, so she pushes me back. What do I want to think of when I'm being pushed back? Well, number one, don't be near the cliff, because cliffs are bad. If you fall off a cliff, you will die. I know it sounds really silly, but you want to put yourself in a good position. So here, Gathering Clouds are all being pushed back. Guess what? There's a mountain behind me. This is a good spot to use. I'm going to push myself back against the mountain. I'm going to just keep casting, doing my heals, doing my damage, whatever, so I don't get knocked off the edge. There's a little Dark Storm. She's going to fly up now onto the opposite platform. Now what happens is she will drop some feathers, similar to Elerethe. And when you pick up these feathers, you get a really cool buff. You should have a tank, a healer, and a couple DPS with these feathers. Most other people will not be able to get them because there's only a set amount of feathers. And you'll see here in my raid frames, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people getting the feathers. You'll see what I do with the feathers. Basically, you have to run across the platform. You're either dodging tornadoes or dodging egg sacks. So I'll give you an example here. So look, you see that thing in front of me here? There's tornadoes you have to dodge. If you get hit by a tornado, it picks you up and it throws you back. There's also little spider eggs there. You can sort of see them in the distance. If you hit them, you spawn spiders. And there's and you can either go left or right. The right path, you're dodging tornadoes. The left path, you actually see them jumping down. You see how they're jumping down? There's a little ghost wolf or whatever jumping down. You drop down onto a little web and then go back up. So because I have the feather on me, and you see there's a big weak aura for feather, this is what happens. I'm going to hit spacebar, and you jump. You jump very high, and you fly over all of the obstacles. You will love that. Now, the other really cool thing is when you jump, and watch what happens. Hopefully I do it on this attempt here. Come on, Sparty. Come on. There. Okay, so you jump, and you have an extra action button. When you use your extra action button, you leap down immediately, like the warrior leap or the demon hunter leap, and you kill everything there. So all these little spiderlings were spawned by people running over eggs, and some spiderlings will actually spawn naturally, so don't be, don't get angry at your raiders if there's some spiderlings. So the tank pulls the boss away. That's the tank with the feather, which I believe was Towley. The rest of us are going to leap down on these spiders and crush them. There, I crushed them. You basically one-shot them. And you jump again. Hopefully I jumped again here. No. Okay. Well, the debuff stays, like the feather stays on a certain duration. You can keep doing it until, your debuff falls off. But only a certain amount of people are able to get the feather, so be aware what you're doing if you have a feather or not. Why not just kill the boss with it? That'd be too easy. So yeah, be very careful with that. Next thing that happens here, there was a twisting. Yeah, that one wasn't dropped in the best spot. So now we're going to tank the boss in further position near the cliff. She has a frontal razor wing ability. So watch this. Razor wing is this ability here. The bird buffets its wings, hurling razor feathers that inflict 1,000,000 damage to targets in a cone in front of the boss. Well, because it's it's a frontal ability, nobody should get hit by it. It is a channeled ability as well. Well, you can probably move, right? Like, nobody's in her path right now. The tanks actually shift out, and their tanks pick up again. So now Twisting Shadows, and now that is the Tornado ability. So they're going to, cleanse one pool. You can see them cleansing a pool over there, or dropping it off really, really far. So they're actually running really far. We actually drop Warlock portals here to make it a lot easier to go across. So we're dropping, we're dropping the abilities in a far, far spot. And when I told you guys at the start of the stream, when you isolate certain abilities, make them easier, turn this boss into a tank and spank, right? Make it as easy as possible. So if we drop tornadoes off to this far side, we don't have to worry about them at all, ever again. It makes the fight a lot easier. But if you drop a tornado near your raid, well, now you have to deal with an extra mechanic. And it's a lot harder to deal with. Okay, so here comes next Razor Wing ability. Again, it's more of a tank one, so don't be in front. Right, she does her Razor Wing. Nobody's there, right? So the tank doesn't have to stand there. She will knock you off, so don't stand there. Next, Twisting Shadows here in a second. There's Shadows again. They're going to drop their tornadoes in a good spot, away from us, because we want to have this area clear. Yeah, more stuff happening here. This is actually where we stop DPS. We told the raid to stop DPS entirely because we want to deal with the third and final platform. So watch what happens. It's going to go a little bit slower. More frontal abilities. There's her Razor Wing attack. Make sure we dodge it. You see the tank Towley, the orange circle, he ran out of the Razor Wing because he doesn't get knocked off. He's had enough experience getting knocked off. Okay, now she goes back into her spider form. Well, during spider form, what is the position? I mean, in general, it's been stacked in, right? You're always really close to the boss. So here she goes back into her spider form. And we're going to do the same thing as before. So again, you're dealing with a web of pain. So if you have a tether on you, run together. Here come necrotic venoms. Well, necrotic venom is on me. I'm going to drop it really far away. I don't want my raid to deal with this. I'm going to drop it right here between the tornadoes. The tornadoes will actually not clean up this venom, just so you're aware. There, I'm dropping it off. I'm going to pop a personal cooldown here and just get it out of my raid. More spiders spawn. So at that point, that big explosion was, again, that vile ambush where she goes up in the air. So now we're going to stay stacked in for heals, be nice and close to the boss. There's no reason or no advantage to being spread out right now. So tanks are tethered. They have to stay close together. Again, we're not doing any DPS at this point. We're just dealing with mechanics because we're learning. Okay, necrotic venom about to happen again. There they go. They're going to go on the that side of the tornado side. That's where we're dropping all our crap off. And we're going to deal with the feeding time again. So watch this. When she comes up in the air, we're waiting. We're waiting as a group, right? It's going to target one of us. If you are stacked in together, you make it a lot easier to bait it, and you know exactly where it's going to land. If you know where things are going to land, it makes those mechanics a lot easier. Watch. Green circle, get the hell out of there. Now, again, we have lanes, different lanes. So we have the bad lane, we have a safe lane to run. If we have tethers, you can see Towley and Deadman running their tethers on one side of the room, and then the rest of the raid is on the other side. You can't mix those up, and you shouldn't on higher difficulties. There, and that was correctly done for the most part. Now the spiders come down, tank the spiders away from the boss. There's venoms coming out again. Because it's the last set of venoms, doesn't really matter where you drop them off. So again, we're going to be dealing with a feather phase here. We're going to deal with the next platform. And this is a fairly long encounter too. Like, again, most guilds can probably kill this in 2 platforms. Because we were practicing for Mythic and some of the Mythic mechanics or Mythic style mechanics and positioning, we wanted to just extend the duration of that fight. Yeah, just the same thing over and over, right? Exactly. So again, what's going to happen here? Well, the Gathering Cloud is going to push you back. Well, where do you want to position yourself? Ideally not near a cliff. Panzer nearly got knocked off there, and... oh, never mind. There's a web there. Okay, so there's the feather. So somebody asked about a feather. Those are the little feathers that spawn. There's a limited amount of them. You'll see me go up closer, and I've got my little wings, and I glide down. And now it's really important that you don't kill the spiders in that path. So you can see, let me just go back for a second here. As you can see me jumping nonstop. I'm jumping and I'm leaping down. You can just keep reusing it until your debuff falls off. There, and I could try killing the boss for somebody that wanted to know. Don't kill the spiders on the entryway to the bridge, because everybody has to path through that bridge, and then it's not fun. You take a lot of damage. So, yeah, don't look at damage meters. None of that's relevant. It's not important. We actually stop DPS, right? Those damage meters are completely irrelevant. So that is Renferal in a nutshell. It's a little bit complicated because of what you're supposed to do, and there's feathers and things like that. But yeah. So what questions do you guys have about Renferal? I'll give you a couple of diagrams as well that my guild has made up. I can share with you guys. Where is Renferal? My little strat spreadsheet. Oh, I mean weak auras, of course. So we pull up our raid weak auras. Make sure we have our Renferal weak auras. They're all ready to go. I'm going to copy it over. And we're going to import into this one. There we go. These are all the fun little relevant debuffs for me. The Venom, the Pulsing, Move Out, Feather, right? Everything that's there. So the cores are ready to go for Renferal. Any case of nasty overlaps with mechanics? Yeah, some-ish. I'm trying to think of some really bad ones. You just have to know what to do for each mechanic. Like, if you have, I don't know, okay, lose a lot of, I'm going to ask you, because you asked that question. If you have the poison debuff, right, the necrotic venom, what do you do? If you have the shadows debuff, the twisting shadows, what do you do? Well, run it out of the raid. Those are pretty much mirror images, mirror abilities. There's a tornado or a poison puddle, run them out of the raid. Right? There you go. You've taken care of two mechanics. Super simple. Sort of where it overlaps is the Web of Pain. That'd be the tough one. The Web of Pain is this one here, where it reflects damage, and the further you are out, the worse. And then on Mythic, so that happens, as well as the Vile Ambush. On Mythic later on, the Pain Lash, basically if somebody runs through that beam, they get knocked the hell out. Like, they're done. And they take a lot of damage as well. So that's a really bad interaction of mechanics there. Are we sure progression? Yes, always. Sparty, do you think you can give me tips? I can give you tips on Holy Paladin later. I want to deal with mechanics now and bosses. For example, could I get the poison debuff and the winds at the same time? Poison debuff, yes. So the poison debuff and gathering clouds, yes. So you'll get knocked back slowly, as well as getting pushed back slowly, as well as getting what's it called? The poison debuff, yeah. And I'm going to see if I can go back to my video there. When was the... Because there's a case of that exactly happening. 4910. Let me go back for a second here. I know it's a really long encounter. That's number 2. Okay, this was the second Vile Ambush. It's actually the third Vile Ambush. Let me just go forward a little bit more. All right, we're just going to start from here. So yeah, this is a great question. So can the mechanics interact a bunch? Sure. So you'll see what happens here in like 10 seconds. So yeah, we'll get Twisting Shadows. So not poison. Okay, so the not poison can interact. It'll be the tornadoes. The tornadoes happen as well as Gathering Clouds, not poison. So I was a little mistaken there. Tornadoes will interact with Gathering Clouds. So those two guys on the far left side will get pushed back as well. So they have to be careful not to get pushed back into their own tornadoes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that can't work. But yeah, this is the one that sort of overlaps. So bird mechanics overlap, but not poison and bird ones weird like that. Any other questions? Let me see what other questions we have here for Renferal. No Renferal questions? Okay, cool. So again, it's a long one. You're likely to go with 2 platforms. Again, the feathers are for leaping on spiders like that, right? Like, don't worry about killing them. You guys don't need to waste a DPS killing these damn spiders. As a tank, your job is to tank the spiders off to the side, not under the boss or on the bridge. And whoever has a feather, just jump up and leap down on them and they die instantly. It's a waste of DPS to actually go DPS them. You should not be DPSing the spiders between platform transitions. During the Vile Ambush, when she goes up in the air, at that point is when you would actually, kill the DPS or the little spiderlings. How many stacks of Raking Talons should tanks taunt off each other? I didn't quite get it. So there, one sec. Oh, yeah, I see the question. Raking Talons, I think they did it every other one. Let me double check here, Raking Talons. Let's find out. I don't know the answer to that question, so I'm going to find out for you based off our raid here. And hopefully I can do this right and don't embarrass myself too much. Unless you want a pad. Nobody likes padders. Nobody respects padders. Come on. So we're going to go to Renferal here, which was that one, and we're looking at Raking Talons. So there's Raking Talons right here. Work, damn it, there. You can see here, Tally took 2 stacks, then Deadman took 1. It was not a big issue there, it looks like. Yeah, not a big issue. When do you want to use Bloodlust? You can use it at the start, realistically. One second, let me pull up a couple pictures for you guys, for Renferal specifically. So we have a couple... yeah, this is the first platform only. So this is a picture of how you want to run the lanes. Right? So the tanks shift in their own lane with that web, and then range everybody else are shifting by the cliff. Right? The boss starts at the skull marker on the left side there, and then gets dragged over to the moon marker. The tangled web area, which is basically the Vile Ambush, the green circle comes down on moon, then you shift the boss back over to the left side. And that's pretty much the positioning for it. So here's a picture of that if you guys want to save it. So there. You take damage with every soak, so you take 1 or 2. Yeah, it's not that bad of an ability here, but yeah, with, again, Raking Talons, yeah, no. I mean, I guess they could have alternated it here, but the debuff didn't stack, or I guess they cleared it themselves through the bird phase here. This was platform number 2, and this is again later on there. Do tanks need to switch jobs at all during the fight, or is it very simple in that sense? I'm pretty sure they can. Sorry, I'm pretty sure they can just keep their thing together. Let's take a look here. Web of Pain, that's not a big deal. Yeah, in the spider phase, you can just have a boss tank and then a spider tank. Whoever's more mobile or whoever wants to pick up the ads. So in the spider phase, not a big deal. And in the later phase, I mean, you want to be just dealing with Raking Talons and just alternating. So, not a big deal. But yeah, there's no real mechanic that requires them switching and alternating where one guy's the boss tank, one guy's the spider tank, and the other guys have to switch. Yeah, nothing really important. Any weak auras? So the weak auras are all there. Raid weak auras. The raid weak auras are all there in case you want to pull them up. So yeah, that's pretty much Renferal in a nutshell. It's more of a complicated one that I think most guilds will have trouble with, especially on higher difficulties with the Web of Pain and Mythic as well. Is there anything stopping you from soaking all the poison in the ground with the trade debuff? So nothing, but why would you want to? So that's a great question by Brett the Beast. Let's go back to our video here. So we'll go back really quickly here. This one, Razor Wing. Now I want to go back. Okay, so look at all that poison on the ground, right? So one of the abilities is the Twisting Clouds, right? The Twisting Shadows, where if you have the debuff, you can run over the poison clouds and clean them up. So we'll go to that in a second here as we just deal with it. So here comes the Vile Ambush. It's big and green. And we run across. I have Web of Pain, so I run this way. That Vile Ambush is actually a good time to use your cooldowns, your Devotion Auras, your Tranks, all that stuff. So there's more puddles, right? More green crap. So because we are not going back to this platform, there is no reason to clear this platform. Right, unless you're on, I don't know, you have no DPS or you're dealing with it on Mythic, and it's like a 15-minute encounter. There's no real reason to do that because I'm not going to be going back to that phase, right? So now she's gone into bird form. Those guys don't need to go back further because if they do go back further, well, number one, they're going to be out of range of heals, and that has happened, in our raids where the guys are like, yeah, I'm going to be super great. I'm going to impress Sparty and clean up all these poison puddles. Well, now they run out of range of heals and they die. So you have to be very careful. Just clean up what's nearby, what's really annoying, and then deal with the rest. Good to know I won't have to handle little spiders. Yeah, somebody else can, right? So again, that feather ability, you jump up in the air. Once the spiders are in position, that's not a good position for them. But they're by the moon markers where you wanted them. And then I leap down, and you just one-shot them. Right? Again, that feather buff is really, really great for that. So... all right, any other questions regarding Renferal? That was our positioning. Those were our logs for that one. Yeah, Web of Pain on people. Dead Man. Yeah, this was, Sparty here and Tali. Yeah, people that got linked together. It was myself and Braindead, looks like we got linked together on that one. Do you decide for the pull who gets feathers? Yes. And if you take the feathers and you are not assigned to feathers, I swear to God, I shove like a duck up your ass or something. Like, do not take the feathers if you are not assigned to them. Because the reason for that is you have to get over the other platform very quickly. Because for every second that you are not on the new platform, she does a fun little debuff here called Dark Storm, where she does 61,000 damage every second. And it gets stronger and stronger and stronger the longer it takes for you to get over there. So if a tank can't get over there because Herpaderp DPS stole a feather because they wanted a friggin' down pillow, then your raid's gonna wipe. So please don't take feathers if you don't know what to do or aren't sure what the hell to do with the feathers. Yes, so it's important, right? She lands over there. She's not just waiting for you. She's actually trying to kill you on the other platform, which is why you can't just take your sweet time and move your entire raid slowly over there. You have to move pretty quickly. Yes, that would be, a nugget moment, correct. Any other questions here? Okay, cool. So we're going to move on. So which boss do you guys